Hey everybody, it's Daniel here from InfoS. Hope you're all doing well. So we had Papa Powell come out yesterday, discuss about monetary policies, kept basically rates unchanged, no change in the interest rate. And, some people may have taken Powell's press conference more in a dovish manner. But the statement came out to be a little bit on the hawkish side. But if I were to view it all as a whole, it was fully expected of Powell to not hike rates. It was fully expected for him to sound more on the hawkish side. And we got the stock market to initially sell off, then go up during the press conference, and then basically at the end of the day come down. So a lot of whipsaw action, just basically taking out traders left and right? And we did have a massive move in the overnight session, which I'll talk about shortly. But I just want to highlight a couple of things from Powell. So first things first, he said that he thinks policy is in a good place until they get more data to determine which way to go. He says it's too early to know. Economy is resilient and in good shape. Policy is moderately restrictive. No hurry. Can be patient. Can let things evolve and become clear. Fully expected, right? Because how can anyone predict with what Trump is going to do? One day he's coming out with trade deals. Other days he's like, nope, we're not going to do anything. That's how it is. That's how it is. And, live up with it, right? The thing is with Powell is that he not only mentioned multiple times of being patient and in no hurry to cut rates, he also mentioned that he wants to continue to watch data, even until June, which basically takes out the chance of a June rate cut. Now, traders are still pricing in a 3 rate cut this year. And he kind of opened the door of possibility, of that kind of not happening, especially if the tariff situation continues and escalates. And like I said, not only Powell's the only central banker out there who's unsure, all the central banks out there, central bankers out there in the world are also unsure. What's very concerning is when Powell came out, he with the statement, he did say and included in the statement that risks of higher unemployment and higher inflation has risen. So risks of higher unemployment, higher inflation has risen. So this was during the statement that was released at 2. In the press conference 30 minutes later, Powell mentioned and said the following, and this is related to data and businesses and households. Basically, the topic was there was concerns around businesses and households postponing decisions. So Powell's answer to that was, if nothing happens to alleviate those concerns, would expect that to show up in hard data in weeks and months. Is watching extremely carefully, does not see much evidence in the actual data of a slowdown in the economy. So he told you that if nothing happens to alleviate basically the concerns that businesses and households have with postponing decisions, the concerns of the tariffs, then expect, okay? This is not my words. This is from Papa Powell. Expect to show that those concerns in the hard data in weeks and months. Not saying months, he added weeks. So this is very concerning because as Trump already increased tariffs to levels we haven't seen in 100 years, and yes, there's a pause, but there's universal tariffs and all this other nonsense out there. There's concerns of ships from China, and this is not just social media saying it. Trump said this during a online press conference with the Canadian PM, the new Canadian PM, Carney. Trump said, ships from China are turning around right now in the Pacific Ocean and going back to China. Ships are at halt. They're sitting there. Now, I'm very interested if there's anyone out there in the shipping industry who have, or the supply chain industry who have, boots on the ground info, and can maybe tell us in the comments section that if they are seeing some supply constraints or sales basically drop. I did hear from someone working in the manufacturing industry that sales have completely dropped due to all this tariff trade war issue. And but the biggest thing is you had Trump come out and say that China is getting no business, and they're turning around their ships, and basically it's being trade is being halted. The only thing is that anything that is coming were previous orders, and anything that something, if they do come, they're basically, those are tariffed on 145%, right? So Powell is signaling, and has been signaling from before, that if these issues do not get resolved, expect the data coming up in weeks to months to be ugly. Very telling sign. Which may make you think that why traders are still pricing in rate cuts for the year. If data is going to be really, really bad, and if it ends up really bad, especially with what Powell said in the opening statement, risks to unemployment has risen, inflation risk has risen, definitely you can expect maybe some sort of easing if the unemployment rate really skyrockets. If it doesn't, don't expect those rate cuts to come anytime soon. So very, very, very interesting meeting that we had yesterday from Powell. Now, in terms of trade deals, we did get news in the overnight session causing the equity markets to rally. And that was basically on rumors and sources saying that a deal is coming through with the US and UK. However, it's 10 a.m. here. We did get new information from CNN saying that the US-UK trade pact will leave the 10% tariff in place. And Trump's trade announcement with UK is limited in scope, heavy on future commitments, and leave the existing 10% tariffs in place. So this is CNN citing this, right? So, and what we're seeing right now, the equity markets are, as I'm speaking, selling off, right? Because you've got basically all this, I don't know how to explain it, BS coming out from the Trump administration, saying that, okay, you're getting a deal done, right? You got a lot of hopium in the equity markets is what we're seeing, right? If you look at NASDAQ and you look at S&P 500, right? NASDAQ in particular, from the lows till now, the bottom, it's about a 20% rally, right? And it's all on this hopium of deals coming through. But if you watch the Canadian and US call, it's on YouTube, you see that Trump is not backing off. And Trump has said multiple times that China is more in need of a deal, and basically said that they're not willing to lower the trades and lower any tariffs in order to get China on the table to discuss about trade, and he's been sounding very aggressive and pushing back. So with that, with that call that we saw with Carney and Trump, it gives you basically a teaser how things may be actually panning out behind closed doors. And then when they come out with sources or any information, just because the market is selling off, they come up with some positive news. I believe this is just a pure manipulation, right? Pure manipulation of the markets and the news, causing the equity markets to move up, and you have traders buying into that hopium. So overall, it's a mess at the end of the day, right? People going long are hoping that things coming out from Trump is truthful, right? We've heard Trump say that China called them, and then a week later said that they're not talking to China, right? What's the truth? What's not? It's very difficult to digest and understand what's happening because there's so much misinformation, right? So people going long will get hurt. People going short will also get hurt because you get sometimes false news pushing up the markets higher. Then you get maybe real news pushing up the market higher or lower. It's just whipsaw, complete whipsaw. Everyone's getting massacred here, and nobody knows, including Jerome Powell not knowing where we're heading. But one thing we can be sure of, continue this way, and you will see it in the data in weeks and months. And you got the confirmation from Powell. What else do you need? Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below, subscribe, hit the like button, bell icon to be notified next video, and I'll see you guys around. Cheers. Bye.